On today's episode of the 1% Podcast, we are so excited to welcome Jeremy Traasdahl. Jeremy is one of the founding partners of One Claim Solutions and has worked in multiple other startup businesses. Jeremy is an outstanding entrepreneur, someone that brings great experience in several different industries. And we're going to talk today about his experience starting companies, growing, scaling, selling, going through school, working simultaneously. Anyone that is interested in owning a business, starting a business, buying a business, selling a business, balancing work, school, family, all those kinds of things. This is a podcast episode you're going to want to listen to. Jeremy is a very intelligent entrepreneur that has an amazing story, and so you don't want to miss it. Thanks for joining us today.
And it's a thing I believe in. Is like, if you're doing the right thing, things will happen for you, right? Like,
in order to be successful and in order to go do really difficult things, you almost have to have that delusional amount of self-confidence, right? Where regardless of what comes at you, you believe that you're going to be able to overcome it.
I think that, frankly, I was older than I should have been to understand the value of networking, the value of mentorship. I'll have lunch with anybody at this point. You know what I mean? I'll go answer anybody's phone calls because I want other people to go achieve the best version of themselves, the best version of what they can achieve. I wish that for everybody. This next 10 to 15 years is the most formidable time of my life. My kids will be out of my house in 15 years, all of them. What matters the most to me right now is the next 10 to 15 years. I've gained a balance that I didn't know I was going to gain. I hoped I would gain, but it came at a sacrifice from when my oldest were young.
Yeah, right.
Okay, today we're joined by Jeremy Traasdahl. Jeremy, appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. So for a little bit of context for our listeners, Jeremy and I are kind of new friends. We just kind of became friends a little while ago. We had some mutual friends and acquaintances that kind of connected us. And so it's been fun getting to know you and your wife and your family a little bit. And as we were kind of talking off air, you and I breathe a lot of the same air, think a lot of the same things, kind of have the same belief system and personal philosophy. And so I'm excited to jump in with you today. And a lot of this is going to be new for both of us, but I think that you and I just connect and think a lot alike. So this should be a lot of fun. So I love letting our audience get to know you, start at the beginning, talk about your family of origin. Where did you grow up at? Parents, family, siblings. What did all that look like growing up?
So I was born and raised in Gilbert, Arizona. I met my wife in high school. We were high school sweethearts. I then went and served a 2-year mission for my church. Came back, met one of my mentors on my mission, met a mentor of mine doing high school football, which we can elaborate on.
Yeah.
Came back from my mission, worked for Pepsi. Really, I worked for Avnet and then Pepsi, but went to college full time. I think that was the beginning of me kind of realizing what it takes to be special, right? And what it takes to become something that I wanted to become. I came home from my mission. I went to school full time and worked full time. I remember, I came home and they were like, 9 credits is all you can handle, during a semester when you're working full time. I remember being miserable, doing those 9 credits, and working full time. And I was like, at the end of that semester, I was like, yeah, that was terrible. I was super stressed out and I only achieved 9 credits.
Yeah.
So the next semester I said, I'm going to do 18 credits because if I'm already going to be miserable, I'm going to get 8
That's right.
credits.
That's right. I might as well get twice as much time.
I'm going to be stressed and I'm going to work. And so I might as well just get more done. The next 18 was the most I could take without a counselor signing off on it.
Yeah. What were you doing for work at the time?
I was an inside sales rep at Avnet for the time. So
Okay.
Working 40 hours, kind of a desk job, mostly data inputs. Avnet's a big supply chain management company. So moving computer components from one place to another. But it was a pretty much 40-hour job. And then the next semester I took 21 credits, had to get an override from the counselor, right, to do it. Graduated in about 3 years because I just kind of stacked that, did summer school. Just really wanted to get it done with. And because I knew I'm going to be stressed, whether it's 9 credits or 21 credits.
Yeah.
So, knocked that out, had two kids in that time frame. So I had my twins at that time. And then was really just working my butt off. And what I will say is, I think that was one of the surprising things that I learned early in my life, my young adult, was like people watch you. I was doing nothing special. I wasn't smart special, but people watched my work ethic and they were like, my heavens, that guy is grinding. And so I started getting approached with opportunities,
Yeah.
at that time, because I think they were like, oh, I want that guy on my team. So I'll either get him as a sales guy, pay him a commission, right? Or I'm going to bring him on as an equity type partner. And that's when I got approached with my, at 27 years old, I got approached by my business partner from my Arizona company. And I've had that company for 10 years now. And I got approached strictly based on my work ethic. He saw me, he was my neighbor, and he was like, dude, I watch you leave the house at 4 a.m. and come back at 6 p.m. and be a great dad and then go off to school and then come back. And he's like, and then do it again the next day. And I'm like, and so that's how I think, you live your life right and opportunities just kind of present yourself.
Okay, so much to dive into right there. Like, so much. We could talk for an hour just about that. And I think this cannot be stressed enough, right? This cannot be stressed enough because this whole podcast is based around inspiring young people, new entrepreneurs, people that don't know what they want to do. Maybe someone that's, in the 9-to-5 grind and they're wanting to create a better life for themselves and their family. But just that time period, right? I think back on my experience there. It's so funny because you and I are cut from the same cloth. I was taking 18 credits, 20 credits, 21 credits every semester, trying to graduate quickly, working the whole time. And it was I didn't have a typical college experience where people are like, oh yeah, college is so fun and hanging out with my friends and going and doing this and playing intramural sports or going to whatever. And it's to me, honestly, it was almost kind of like a blur, right? It's a really painful blur to look back on, but it's those were hard, really, really long days, really, really long years, but the same thing, right? I wanted to get done as quick as possible. I saw okay, if this is something I need to do, I had a vision of what I wanted my life to be, and I wanted to get there quicker. And I would look around and I'd see people in their 50s or 60s doing things that they hated, right? They were miserable, whether they own their own business or they're working for someone else, but they hated what they did. And if they did own their own business, they didn't really own it. Their business owned them. And I was okay, I don't want to live that life. I don't want that to be my reality. So if I want to be this, I want to be a great dad. I want to have kids. I want to be involved. I want to be able to coach their sports and be at their activities. And I want to be around, and I don't want to be so stressed out that by the time I come home at night, I have nothing left to give them. So in order to do that, I know I've got to grind really, really, really hard for this, 10-year window of time to set myself up where now all of a sudden I'm not having to grind, but I'm building, right? And then I'm able to capitalize on those opportunities that have come. And I look back on those things and it's the exact same thing, right? I remember the first business that I was really involved with in college, that some kid that I was in a business class with was trying to start a trash service business, going around to different apartment complexes and basically providing a trash service where you could just go set your garbage outside your door and they'd come gather it all up and then go haul it off or whatever, right? And so he approached me hey, would you want to be business partners with me in this? And so we're sitting down, we're building business plans, and we're thinking through how this would work, and we're splitting up the different complexes in town and who's going to go hit up what one. And then we're meeting with this other kid that had started this private bus service to add that as a added benefit for if people signed up for the service or whatever, right? But I just think through those things, why did he approach me? If anyone else on campus or whatever, why'd he come and approach me? But it's he saw that I was working, he saw that I was grinding, he just saw that, I was trying to do all those things. And so I think that can't be overstated. Number one, the opportunities come to you because people are watching, right? People see.
People are always watching. This is what I've always told to my kids too. And I really, it's a thing I believe in, is if you're doing the right thing, things will happen for you, right? I didn't know when I was working, PepsiCo was a crazy grind. They expect you to work 10, 12-hour days. And then I was going to school on top of that at night. I had no college experience. I was doing night college and summer school, right? I was doing as much online as I could. And I was at Arizona State University, so some of it couldn't be done online. So I was going to the university. I was doing the night classes. And it wasn't a fun experience. It was a miserable experience for me. My college experience was if I look at my heyday, my best memories are my high school, because I had no responsibilities at that point.
Yeah.
And, but college was just just a grind. But people just watch, people watch. I had multiple people who were like, oh, dude, what you're doing is not normal. I remember just doing math and I'm like, 9 credits. It's going to take me 5 years. I'm like, I'm going to live this life for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like pass.
Yeah. They're going to be almost 30 by the time I'm out of here, right? Like, yeah.
Exactly. And that's a long missable time.
Yeah. At that point in your life, you're like, it's like 20% of my life.
That's right. That's right. And at that point, to be honest, like my dad has worked for the same utility company for 40 years. Bless his soul. He's retiring in May, which is a 40 plus year journey of doing it one way. He started as an intern there and worked his way up the corporate ladder. He's, a senior director at that company at this point and retiring. And I remember being like, man, he put in the time and he was disciplined and he worked his butt off. At the same time, my mission president when I was serving was the CEO and founder of Extra Space Storage, the storage units that you see everywhere, and on my mission, he gave me a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I would, at this point,
Robert Kiyosaki, yeah.
Yeah, Robert Kiyosaki, who has just every one of his books you should go read because they're amazing. I'm sure you've read most or all of them. But I remember like as an introduction into like business world, right? He was like, he gives me this book on my mission. He's like, I need you to read this book. And it just hit me like a freight train because he was my rich dad, my mentor. I was in his pocket. I was his translator. We were in Russia. I was his translator. So I was with him
all the time.
Yeah. He couldn't live without me. Right. Yeah. So just side conversation after side conversation that I would have with him. And I'm like, this is my rich dad and this is my poor dad. No, it feels sad because I love my dad.
Sure.
My dad is not a poor dad. Like he's done really great in a very conservative way. Yeah. But I mean, that was, I think, my first introduction to like, oh, there's a different part of this world that I've never seen and never knew about, right? When I thought of entrepreneurship, I thought, oh, I got to like invent something, get a product, right? And take it to market. Like how
do something that no one's ever done before.
Yeah, I have to have a unique idea, that's how I thought about it, in my young age. And then, in my old age, I'm like, dude, I would absolutely never invent anything. I would go to a service business, right? and go be an entrepreneur of a service business is how I would do it, and which is what I've done a couple times. And anyway, I remember that was, if I think of a mentor, he was an integral part of setting me off to a new journey. He's like, you really should consider doing something outside of just what everyone else does, which is go get a job, climb the corporate ladder, maybe move here and there for a couple promotions, and then, 401k it and retire,
No, again, I think there's so much to unpack with that. It's clear to me that virtually everyone that becomes very successful has a mentor or mentors in their life that help them to get really good at something or at different things along the way, right? You and I both talked about off air, and I want to jump to this as well. Like I had a very impactful high school football coach, right? That like made a big impact on my life and the way that I thought, and almost gaining like a delusional amount of self-confidence, right? Like where he would just instill in us that like, you're better than everyone else. You go step out on the field, you should expect to win. Like you've worked harder in the weight room than they have. You've prepared more than they have. You've watched film unlike they have. Like you've done all these things to prepare to win, like go expect to win. Right. And so everything that you do, like you just like walk around almost like with this chip that you're just better than everyone. And I think that in order to be successful and like in order to like go do really difficult things, you almost have to have like that delusional amount of self-confidence, right? Where regardless of what comes at you, you believe that you're going to be able to overcome it. And so I learned that a lot from him. And I want to hear about the impact that your high school football coach had on you as well. But then like the mentor of your mission president, right? I had similar with my mission president and a few other people along the way. But if you would just talk about the impact that mentors have had on your life and people that just think that, hey, I've got to go try and bootstrap this on my own, or maybe I don't necessarily have that person built in my life. What counsel would you give to them about finding mentors and about the impact that mentors had on your life?
Yeah. So I think there's two real questions there. And I think that frankly, I was older than I should have been to understand the value of networking, the value of mentorship. I was a bit of an arrogant, delusional kid that was like, look, dude, I don't need anyone. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go accomplish this. I don't need to lean on someone. Like, I'll figure it out. right? Networking, it's like, what's the point of networking if I think I can just go handle it?
Yeah.
Do everything yourself, you know?
Networking is a waste of time. That's for lazy people to take like 9 credits a semester.
Yeah,
Like, I don't have time to go do stuff like that.
if you would have, invited me on this podcast 15 years ago, I probably would have said no.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
I would have said no because I'm like, I'm too busy.
Yeah, I'm too busy. And what's the point? You know what I mean? Like at that time of my life, and I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the value of it. That's how you begin. Go finding your network, finding your mentors. If you don't have one, that's how you go. Like, go. I answer my phone for anyone who calls. Like, if somebody was listening to this podcast and said, "Hey, I got your number from that podcast," I contacted Kam and said, "Hey, I wanted to." Like, I'll have lunch with anybody at this point. You know what I mean? I'll go answer anybody's phone calls because I want other people to go achieve the best version of themselves, the best version of what they can achieve. I wish that for everybody. This abundance mindset, which I give my wife full credit for, we're all not eating out of the same pie.
Yeah.
There's lots of pies out there.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to go get a piece of their pie and go get the biggest, best version of their pie that they can go get, and achieve that greatness. And then the second part of your question is I would say I had 3 mentors that I would give most of my life trajectory credit for. These 3 people. And what's so unique about these 3 people is they all provide something so different. They all look very different. They all achieved varying successful varying degrees of success. One would be my dad. Obviously, he was a corporate America guy. He climbed the ladder, is going to retire. Him and my mom are going to be fine the rest of their lives. He did it. He worked hard every day. He did the grind. He did multiple jobs within that company and became from an intern guy to senior director guy because he was valuable. He showed up to work, did his job, did it well, cared about, people, cared about his job, cared about the organization, and climbed the ladder. He taught me a lot of things about discipline, investing in 401ks, making sure you set yourself up for retirement. The delayed gratification that I think young kids don't understand. He's like, no, you got to go put money away for your retirement when you're 22 because of the compounded, effect that it has. So that's mentor number 1. Mentor number 2 is my football coach. Most people from the outside world would probably say, oh, he's a high school football coach. Like, is he successful? Right? Like, is he successful? I don't know. Maybe not to most people, probably high school teacher, PE coach, or high school football coach, right? To me, it was probably one of the most influential people in my life. He's the one that had this mental discipline thing figured out. And he's the one that, I'm one of those guys that's like, people will tell me something and I'll challenge it. I'm like, is it that way?
Yeah.
They'll tell it to me like it's fact and I'll be like, maybe, maybe not. Like, I'll go find out for myself, right? I remember he was like, mental discipline, your mind will fail you far earlier than your body will fail you. Something just so simple like that. And I remember being like, yeah, really though? I remember doing a plank, right? And I'm like, I'm going to test this theory out. We're doing planks for as long as we can do planks, right? And last person standing wins, right? And I remember holding the plank. Anyone who's held a plank, like, that time gets really slow, really fast. Like, it's like, oh man, it's only been a minute. Like, like I'm dying here, right? And I remember being like, I'm going to test this. I'm going to let my mind not fail me today. Every time I think I'm done, I'm going to just push through it. I remember doing like a 6.5 minute plank or something like that. And by the way, when I fell, it wasn't because my body failed. It was probably because my mind just finally failed. You know what I mean? And I remember being like, oh, dude, I just unlocked a different part of what I can achieve. Because now I believe that my mind is my limiting factor. And if I can change the way my mind works, then I can change my limits and I can go achieve something that otherwise people are like, could I really do that? It's a little risky. Oh, it's a little difficult. Oh, I don't really know anyone. I don't have a mentor. All these things I call feel-good excuses.
Yeah.
They're excuses that make you feel like, oh, that's why I couldn't go do that.
Your brain is meant to keep you safe, not to make you thrive.
That's exactly right.
How can I find safety? How can I do something that's not taking too many chances? What's going to keep me over here and safe and protected? Not, hey, what's the best version that my life could possibly be, and how can I go do that?
Yeah, and I think that our brains, human brains, are our limiting factors.
Yeah,
and this is like, I have all my kids in sports, right? And if I was to put, I'm a college graduate. People could say that I'm educated that way. To me, I put so much more value in sports than I do in what they're learning in school.
1000%.
Strictly because this mind factor. Go do the hard things. Who wants to do 2-a-days for football and wake up at 5 a.m?
No one.
No one.
Yeah.
Now you do it, then you're proving yourself I can do hard things. Like, I have these idiosyncrasies that I think I have because of my football coach. Like, if I get on a treadmill and I say, I'm going to walk for an hour, or I'm going to go walk for 30 minutes, whatever I'm doing, I will not turn it off. Most people turn it off. And I would challenge you to go find out if you have this instinct, right? 59 minutes and 22 seconds. Oh yeah, I did an hour. Like, no, you didn't do an hour.
Can't do it.
You did 59 minutes and 22 seconds. So if you said you were going to go do an hour, I remember my wife's like, okay, are you ready to go? And I'm like, well, no, I have 32 seconds, you know? And she's like, yeah, I know. Like,
Just be done.
just be done.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, well, then I'm training my mind. Every time I do that, I'm training my mind that that was good enough.
Yeah.
You almost accomplished what you
Yeah.
wanted to accomplish. And I don't do that anymore. Like, I can't. Like, those are the things in my life that I'm like, probably stupid to most people.
It's like so funny because you and I are so similar that way. Like, my family literally makes fun of me because they're like, Dad, like, it's okay. Like, you're way too like obsessive about like these types of things. It's like, it's just the way that I am. It's just the way that I'm wired, and you know, how I came across that, or, you know, eventually came to be that way. I don't know exactly, but it's like certain things have to be done a certain way. Yeah. If I say I'm going to do it for an hour, it's an hour. Like, if I say it's going to be, you know, this one way, like, that's how I have to do it. I can't go.
Because you don't want to train your mind you don't want to train your mind in the opposite direction, right? It's, in Russian, they have this phrase, повторение мать учения, which is repetition is the mother of all learning. It's another thing I've said. It's like the only Russian phrase I say to my kids, because I'm like, you can out-rep anything.
Yeah.
You out-rep anything.
Yeah.
You have a bad habit, out-rep it.
Yep.
You do that, out-rep it. And so if you're on the treadmill and you're repping to come up just short, then I think you're repping, you're training your brain to come up just short.
Totally.
Every time you do it.
Totally.
And if you walk every day, you're training your brain every day to come up short. And I believe that.
No, I do too. Well, like, this is something that, so my oldest son, Cannon, right? He's 15 right now. He's playing basketball. Had a great season. It's been really, really fun for him. But he's been working, like, he's been grinding, right, for years. And so for the past 3 years, virtually every single day, you know, with very few exceptions, we don't do it on Sundays. But he goes and he shoots a minimum of 500 shots every day, right? So gets his shots up. He'll go and do 1 or 2 or 3 hours worth of training with different trainers that he works with. But he's putting in the time and he's putting in that work, right? And so I had a parent come up to me the other day and like, oh my gosh, like, Cannon's an amazing shooter. Like, what has he done, like, to become such a good shooter? Like, what would you recommend my son do or whatever? And I was like, he shot minimum 500 shots virtually every day for the past 3 years. So I was kind of adding up in my head. I'm like, in the past year, he spent over 500 hours shooting. He's put up somewhere between 350 and 400,000 shots in the last year. And they're game reps, right? It's not just standing there, you know, throwing up. It's, you know, you're sprinting from one side to the other. You're, you know, cutting and then coming back and catching. You're coming like you're coming off a down screen and, you know, coming up to the top, catch it, shoot it. It's like, you just rep that over and over and over and over again. It's like, yeah, when you've done it 400,000 times in the last year, done it probably well over 1 million times in the last 3 years, like, you're going to become successful, right? You can out rep it where it's like, you just do it to the point where not just that you can do it right, but almost to the point where you can't do it wrong. And, you know, like, that is so true. And it's like, people are just afraid to go do that, right? It's like, they're afraid to go put in the work and expect to have the result without putting in the work. I think it's really easy. You know, someone could see Jeremy Traasdahl come rolling up in his cool car, you know, come by your beautiful home, or, you know, see your office overlooking the freeway in Arizona or whatever. And it's like, people think like, oh man, like, that dude just got lucky, or, hey, how do I get to where you're at? And like, what's the shortcut? What's the secret? It's like, secret is, there really is no secret. Like, the secret is, like, you just go work and work and work and work and do the things that other people are afraid to do, right? Like, that's definitely been the biggest theme that I feel like I've gotten out of doing this podcast with every single person I have on, like the overarching theme is people that are successful are just willing to do things other people aren't willing to do.
Yeah, I think it's, again, lots to talk about there. Entrepreneurship in general is a hard thing to recommend to people. People will say like, hey, if you were to start a business today, I'm like, I don't know if I would. You know what I mean? Like, I know what it takes.
Yeah.
I know what it takes to, I'm a bit of a one-trick pony that way, where like most of my success has just been your own business, scaling business, selling business. And I'm like, I'm a one-trick pony and I know what it takes. And I'm like, I would have a real hard time today saying, I'm going to go start another one, bootstrap another one. And, so when people recommend, or people ask me like, hey, what would you recommend if you were to start a small business today? Like, what should I do?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I would first tell you, you really want to? Because like, that's a difficult life. You're going to live the next 10 to 15 years and you're going to make some sacrifices that you didn't know, and you're going to stress in ways you didn't know, and you're going to not sleep in ways that you've never not slept before. And, you're going to wonder if your next paycheck's coming. You're going to wonder if your biggest client's going to cancel. You're going to wonder things that you don't want. Like it's a nightmare that you got to live. And I know for a fact I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. But even the ones that I think could go do it, the ones that I'm like, oh, you're cut out of that cloth. You've got it. I still caution, and I still, by the way, think everyone should go get theirs. And I want that for everybody. But I just know that it's a long, hard journey with a lot of up and downs.
And you got to be kind of built different, right? Like you just have to be willing to go do things that other people aren't willing to do, right? We have a saying right outside the store that we got from Spencer Danielson, the head football coach at Boise State when he came in, but talks about the saying that they have at Boise State. It says they call it being built different, doing normal things in an abnormal way, right? Like, okay, can we go do things that everyone else practices? How do we do it differently? Everyone watches film. How do we do it differently? Everyone lifts weights. How do we do it differently, right? Like, how do we figure out ways to get advantages all the way around? And can you take being miserable or enduring hard things for a sustained period of time, right? Like, I think so many people think that it's going to be, okay, it's going to be tough for 6 months or it's going to be tough for a year. And then we get to be like the Traasdahls and get to go on vacations and get to go here and there and be wherever we want to be. Or, hey, I've just got to do this for a couple of years. It's like, it's not that way. And anyone that you see that's really successful, like chances are they didn't just fall into that, right? Like, I get that people can inherit success in a way, or can inherit money, but you don't inherit success, right? And like those types of things have to be earned. They have to be perpetuated because it is lost a whole lot faster than it's gained, right? Like it is really, really easy for people to lose money, to blow through things and, to throw it all away really quickly. It's really hard to take things, to build them from nothing, to grow them, to scale, and to get to the point where you can do it and you can still manage having a life, right? So let's talk about that for a minute. In your time coming up, how did you find balance in being a good dad, being a good husband, starting your businesses, going to school, all those demands that were placed upon you? Maybe kind of talk about, through the timeline that you've been doing this.
Yeah.
How have you found balance? Because it looks different at different times, right? Like it's not
for sure. And that's exactly where my mind, I mean, I would be lying to you if I said I was the best dad I could be when I was starting my companies. Like, I think I wasn't, I could have been more available at the sacrifice of the speed at which I built my companies. I don't think that there's a world where, I can't, when my twins were young, like we vacationed none for the first 3 to 5 years of their life.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
A, we didn't have the money, and B, I couldn't be away.
Yeah.
I had to be there, and so I remember timeline wise, and some of it was maybe a facade, but I was like, I'm grinding for X time, babe, stay with me, hang with me through this, because at some point I'll be able to go on vacations. And by the way, that's come to fruition. Whether that I knew that was ever going to come to fruition or not, I don't know.
But you had faith in it, right? You
I
had to believe, and you had to believe what you're doing.
Yeah. I was delusional enough to believe it myself, right? And so I would say like the first 5 years of marriage, and my kids at that point would have been my twins would have been less than 5 years old, right? They were young. Like my wife, bless her soul, she was the rock for that family. I was as around as, gosh, man, I loved my kids, but I was not around as much as I could have been around because I was taking the other approach, which was like, my kids are young. They're not going to remember this. Like, I'm going to come home and kiss them, and they might be asleep, and they might be asleep when I kiss them on my way out the door the next day. And I didn't see them that day. Now, what that's done is positioned me today to, fast forward. I take my daughter to school every day. Like, absolutely would never have happened with my twins, my older ones. You know what I mean? And right now, I take my daughter to school and I pick her up maybe 75% of the time also, and I'm spending a lot of time at home. I take all my kids to practices. I've never missed a game, and I think that life back then positioned me for this life now.
Absolutely.
And by the way, my wife and I have talked, like, this next 10 to 15 years is the most formidable time of my life. My kids will be out of my house in 15 years, all of them. Like, what matters the most to me right now is the next 10 to 15 years. Outside of that, like, there's not a ton else that's going to matter to me. Maybe grandkids and being able to travel to their stuff, would be important. But right now it's like, I think I achieved what I needed to achieve. My oldest are 10, and they're just into the competitive stuff and the sports and the activities. And my youngest is 5. And so I think, like, I've gained a balance that I didn't know I was going to gain. I hoped I would gain, but it came at a sacrifice from when my oldest were young.
Yeah. Right. It's like taking, countdown that you don't really even know exists. Right. And I think that some of us, to a certain extent, it's like, you see that in your mind and okay, hey, this is the life that I want to live, but you're on a countdown. And there's a, old proverb that says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So wherever you're at, you can start today, right? You can start today to make those changes and start building the life that you want. But to anyone that's really young and is trying to decide what they want to do, or, coming up in it, like, you have a finite amount of time. Like, life is not infinite.
And it's your most valuable asset, time.
It is.
It's the most
and you only
valuable
trade
asset.
anything for it, right? It's like you take someone that's worth, $100 billion, and they would trade it all away to go be 25 or 30 years old again. Like, they would, right? Everyone without fail always would.
Yep.
And so that's the most valuable commodity that you have is time. But you get 1 decade, right? It's like from 18 to 28, 20 to 30, whatever you want to call it, right? But basically by the time you're 30, like, you get that time to go build, to work, to grind, to, like, build those habits into yourself, to go, like, set yourself up for success. Like, you have that period of time that if you really want to go be in the position where you can take your kids to school, you can be at their games, their events or dance competitions, or, whatever they're doing. Like, you have a finite amount of time. And it's like, you don't have time to go party that time away. You don't have time to go say, oh yeah, I went and traveled the world. I went and did this, I did that. It's like, yeah, I didn't do that kind of stuff. Like, I missed out on, like, I went 9.5, almost 10 years between ever going on a vacation. Yeah. It's like, and that's how it was. Like, I had someone DM me the other day and ask, like, hey, Kam, like, how do I do this in my business? I just, like, can't even get away. Like, I started this business a year ago and I try to be gone for like a week and everything just falls apart if I'm not there. And it's like,
go ask someone else, because I wasn't.
Club. Like, I don't know.
Because I don't have that answer.
I don't
But
have
the
that
answer at
answer.
10 years, like, you don't go on vacation for 10 years, because that's the way I did it.
Like, that's what it is. So it's like, that's what you're signing up for.
Yeah.
And you just have to go do that because it's going to take a sustained period of time. Like, it's not, oh, hey, I went and started this business and in 6 months, man, I had a whole team built out and the whole team was like running flawlessly. It doesn't work that way. And so people have to understand what they're getting themselves into and that you have that period of time.
Yeah. I really like, when your Cam, or not Cam,
Cannon. Yeah.
Cannon, your boy's basketball experience. It resonates so well with me, because it's like, that mom probably was like, what did you do? And she's looking for a solve that's a quick solve.
Yeah.
Right. Or and maybe not even a quick solve, but like, she can't go back in time with her kid and say, oh, go put up 500 shots, a day for the last 3 years of your life. You can't go back in time. I have this, my son was, playing flag football, and he was just, like, not great at catching the football. And I'm like, why? What is happening? So I'm like, it was winter here, and I'm like, all right, we're going to do 25 catches a day, because I'm a believer in this. You can rep anything out, and 25 turns into 50 because you're just, but we're indoors with, like, a little football, and I'm like whizzing it across the dining room table, and sure enough, we come next season, and all of a sudden, like, the coach was like, dude, what?
He's catching everything.
He does not drop anything. And it's all hands catches. And my business partner, one of my business partners, had said to me, like, I've never seen somebody attack their deficits as much as you attack your deficits, or as much as you make your kids attack their deficits. Most people will, or I guess some people would say, oh, like my kid's the fastest kid, I'm going to go help him be fast, the fast kid again. No, if my kid's a fast kid, I go find out he can't catch, and I'm going to go attack that he can't catch and make his deficit up to par, so that then what he's good at, he's already good at, but he's not, now he's more well-rounded, right? And, you know, I was like, I felt normal to me. I felt like it was revolutionary to him. The way he said it was like, dude, why are you making your kids all attack their deficits, you know? And it's because I think that's what I did in my life.
Yeah.
It's like, I wasn't the smartest guy ever, you know, but what I did was I outworked everybody.
Yeah.
Because I was like, my deficit is I don't have money. You know, I have nobody to help get me off the ground for this business. I got to bootstrap it. I have no money, and I'm not a Harvard graduate. So I have no idea or product to go do. So like, I just got to outwork. I got to do something else that will make me special. Man, effort was the currency I had.
And really, it's the most valuable one, right? It's like you look at the most successful people, they're not the people that are the smartest, they're not the people that are the most gifted. They're the people that can go endure more than other people can, right? They can go do hard things for a longer sustained period of time than other people can.
Yep.
And over and over and over again, like that's what you see, right? Like I had Kristen Armstrong on here a little while ago, right? 3-time Olympic gold medalist in the individual time trial, only female athlete to ever win gold in the same event, 3 consecutive Olympics, like all these incredible things. I was like, she's like, there were other people that are way more talented than I was. Like, there were all these cyclists. I'm like, holy cow, like she's so strong, she's so fast, like she's so good at this. It's like, what was your superpower? I was just willing to outwork everyone.
Outlasted them.
Like I just outlasted them, right?
Yeah.
I just worked harder than they did.
Yeah.
Right. Like she flew over to China, went and mapped out the course, videotaped the whole thing, watched it every day, you know, put a Garmin on her bike right when those were brand new, sent the coordinates back to her husband. He's an engineer. He like, you know, input them, and they created a course here in Boise that she could train on every day for like 9 months leading up to the Olympics. She'd like watch the video, so she knew where every pothole was. She knew where every, you know, sewer plug-in was. Like she knew that course inside out, backwards and sideways. She had, you know, prepped to see how her body would handle the pollution and the air quality and just all that kind of stuff. It's like anyone else could have gone and done those things. Like there was nothing special.
That's hard to do.
That's all just effort.
That's
right?
hard to, like, just nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
She didn't want to do that. I guarantee it, you know?
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm going to go do something that no one else is willing to do.
Yeah.
You know, I say this to my daughter. She's in gymnastics, and she's just at like the competing age where she's going, I think, 25 hours a week, you know, just training. And there's a lot of girls in her level, right? Like there's a lot of girls, and every summer it comes back, like there's 3 less girls, you know, every summer there's 3 less girls. What's happening is people aren't willing to do this forever.
The attrition kicks in.
The attrition kicks in because it's hard, and it takes away from your social life, or it takes away from your personal life, or and the girls get older, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm not willing to make the sacrifices anymore to go achieve this.
Yeah.
And so it's like, just outlast people, because most people give up.
Yeah. Like you can beat 99% of people by just outlasting them.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so true.
And like, I look at my business and I'm like, I could have gave up there. I could have quit there. When I lost my biggest client, I could have quit there, you know, and I had very little to lose at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I look at the steps and I'm like, yeah, a lot of people probably would have, but I was probably delusional enough to think like, oh no, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I can just go get another one, you know?
Let's talk about for a minute your experience, because I think you and I have a similar view on this. Your experience in college and what you would recommend to someone today, right? Like I could ask this question almost daily, where someone's like, hey, Kam, should I go to college or should I not? Should I just start a business? Should I go get experience in the industry? Should I like just go start like interning for people? What's your recommendation about college? What benefits did you find in college? Would you go do it again if you had to start over?
Man, this is a taboo question. I get this question all the time too. And I think it's a bit because it's easy to go to the entrepreneur that didn't go to college and ask him this question. The successful entrepreneur that didn't go to college, they'll tell you college is a waste of time. look at me. I'm mega wealthy, never went to college. Therefore, college is a waste of time. Then you go to the entrepreneur who's like, or the college guy who's hyper successful, maybe MBA guy. And he says, oh yeah, dude, I got my MBA from Kellogg and it's given me more opportunities than anything in the world. And I've networked and blah, blah, blah. And this is why I am where I am today in private equity or in venture capitalism. And by the way, it's all thanks to my college. And I go look at him and he's hyper successful, hyper wealthy. And I'm like the middle guy. Yeah. I'm like, I did the undergrad. So like I did college. I understood the value there. I use it zero. I got my degree in marketing, and it's probably my biggest gap in my own business is understanding our marketing. It's the one that like I actually probably understand the least in terms of departments. And I get asked this all the time. Now, what I'll tell you is like, I don't think college is the path for everybody. I think it is a path though. And if I was to go say, if I'm going to college, if I was to redo my life, I would go to college to then go to a top 3 MBA school. If I was to do the education, that's where I would target. I would say, I'm going to go to college, get my undergrad, and then I must make it into a top 5 MBA program, top 3 MBA program, because I do think that opens the door to opportunities that otherwise doesn't get open for you. If I wasn't going to go that route, I would just not go. I would do a trade school. I do think that like plumbers, HVAC, electricians, those are your next door millionaires right now. Those are the companies, and they were tradesmen. They just went to a trade school and got their journeyman plumbing license and started a business, and all of a sudden got acquired by private equity and multimillionaire. Yeah. And so it's hard because I don't want to give a definitive answer to anybody because I think everyone's path and journeys are different. If I was to do it again, I didn't like school enough to go to the top 3 MBA school. And so I would probably just say, probably not worth it. I had the idea that this undergrad was a safety net. Yeah. I don't think that that's real. I don't think that I'm any less marketable or more marketable with my undergraduate degree. And I don't know if I like the people I hire, I don't care about their undergrads. Yeah. Like, I don't care if they went to college or not. It's not affecting it. It's their interviews, their working history, and
their skill set.
Yeah. That's what I look at.
Yeah, like, I care about skill set. I don't care about a resume.
I don't care about their 3.6 GPA from whatever college. Like, I don't look at it. And so in that case, I think that it would be less valuable than what I think people think it is.
No, and it feels like this question comes up a lot, and I think that you and I have a similar stance on it, where I think that it can be a path, and I think that it can definitely open doors. Like some of my best friends, people that I've connected with in the industry, I feel like there have been a lot of doors that have been opened because of the network that I gained while I was in school. But could I have gained a similar network had I been working or doing something else? Possibly, right? Like, I don't know that. But I think that you can try to make the most of wherever you're at, and you can find ways for it to bring value to you. And so whether, someone's family circumstances or life circumstances didn't allow them to go do that, like, they can go still be hyper successful, or like they can go network in different ways and connect with different people. I think that college used to kind of be the safeguard, if you will, for information. And like, that was how you had to go learn things, right? It's not that way anymore, right? Like, we live in the information age where you can go, so podcasts like this one, you can go get books online, watch YouTube videos, take classes online. Like, you can gain so much information in a much more efficient amount of time than you can going to college, and certainly, much less expensively. So I don't think that just the education portion, now, does it force you to go do things because you have assignments and you have,
go do hard things?
Go do hard things, right? You have to learn how to jump through hoops. You have to learn how to do things like, okay, I have to go download this certain software. I have to learn how to use it. I have to go through this book, and I've got to go follow these 200 steps. So then when you're trying to go get licensed in some state or something, it's like, okay, you got to go follow these 200 steps. You have to download this. It's like, okay, I've done stuff like this before, right? I think that confidence comes from having a stack of evidence that you can do hard things.
Yes.
And college can be that, right?
Yes.
You can get that in other ways, but gaining a stack of evidence that you can do difficult things is what's going to give you confidence to go start a new business or buy a business or do whatever, right?
Yeah, to your point, exactly. Like, Mike, you heard me just talk about my college experience. What that actually gave me, it wasn't the accounting, it wasn't the calculus, it wasn't that. It was I just proved that I just could do something that most people can't do.
Yeah.
That people were telling me 9 credit hours. What I said was like, I'll do 21.
Yeah.
And then like, that's what propelled probably my life confidence, my life resume in myself, where I said, I've now achieved things that I knew people said I couldn't achieve.
Yeah.
Right. And so maybe that was the value of my college experience. I just told you about it. Right. And it's because it felt special to me. It felt like, oh yeah, most people wouldn't have done what I did and couldn't have done what I did. And therefore I can now go do things that other people still doubt me about.
Yeah.
And I've proved to myself once that I've overcome what other people thought, and I'll go prove it again.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you're right. I think you nailed it on that.
No, I love it. Let's talk about the role that Cassie played. You kind of talked about this a little while back about your kids and those years you were grinding. Like, if you're talking to someone who's married, considering getting married, or like the spouse of someone either like buying or starting a business, like what is the role that the spouse has to play in your view, and what role did Cassie play in helping you to become hyper successful?
My heavens, I think I got so lucky. I'll say that. Like, I think it was blatant luck. I knew her for a long time, right? We were high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
And I still to this day am like, oh, if I had any idea, like what I needed in a spouse, thank heavens she fit, because I didn't know that when I married her.
Yeah.
Thank heavens it just was right. And she was who she needed to be, who I needed her to be. I think the spouse is the number one most important thing. It will either tank you as a business owner or an entrepreneur. You will not be successful without a spouse that is as invested in your success as you are. You will not achieve it if they hold you back, if they bring you down, if they aren't willing to make the same sacrifice as you are. Like, you won't make it. I'm a firm believer in that. It's like, if you're getting married, like, get it right, because it's really hard if you don't get it right. I got lucky. I didn't even think I got it right. I know I got it right, but I didn't know I knew I got it right back then.
Yeah.
So I'll preface by saying that my wife has always been hyper loyal to me. Like, it's her number one thing. She's just like, hey, I remember I was quitting Pepsi to start my company, and I had 2 young twins, and 2 mouths to feed and a little house. And all of a sudden, like, I'm going to quit my job. I had a promotion on the table with Pepsi. And so it was kind of time. Like, I either have to do this or I got to do this. And we had an investor at the time that was going to invest $50,000 in us, right, to start my business. And I said, okay, great. I quit Pepsi, and the investor backed out. So now it was, push come to shove, like, we about to find out.
Yeah.
You have no runway anymore.
Yeah.
I had no savings. I had just graduated college, and I'm like, we're about to find out. And I had the option to try to go back to Pepsi because my boss loved me and she would have taken me back. Or I'm about to.
With your tail tucked and hat in hand.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah.
oh, hey,
yeah. And she would have taken me back, and then I would have been obligated there for another year or two, where I would have felt like I owed her something. And so anyway, and my wife's like, hey, Jeremy, like, I know you'll figure it out. You always have. You'll figure it out. And I was like, all right, I'll figure it out. Landed my first 2 customers, started seeing cash flow probably 30 days later from those customers. And off to the races we went. My wife believed in me way more than I believed in myself. At that time, I was half, because of my obligation to my family, I was half tempted to go tail between my legs, go back and say, give me a secure paycheck, because I don't have any runway anymore, and my wife's been my number one supporter, hyper loyal. One of the things early in our marriage that we had a fight, I remember she said, why don't you married me for a reason. Like, why do you always want me to change? Right? You're always wanting me to change. And I said, yeah, I did not marry you for your 19-year-old self. I married you for who we can become. Thank heavens, I'm going to go become somebody else too, because we should all get better every day. We should all change every day. Because if we're not changing, what are we doing? You want me to be my 22-year-old self? I was kind of dumb, naive, inexperienced, right? Once I think she understood that, it was early in our marriage, she's like, oh, we're both going to develop. We're both going to change, and we're going to go on a journey together. There's no more have a good summer, don't ever change. No, change.
Yeah.
Change that summer. Go be better. Go learn something. Go invest in yourself. Develop something in yourself. And once we kind of got on that path together, my wife, I told you, the first 5 years of my kids' lives, my twins, she was a rock star, dude. She was like up with them all day. She was single mom in it. That's the truth. And, we talk about like, we know people who are going through divorce or have been divorced. And I'm like, you absolutely deserve half of everything I have. Absolutely. It would never even be a question for me because of what she went through with me. My life sucked. Her life sucked just as bad. She had the same worries, the same sacrifices, the same turmoil that I had in a different way. And so like I'm on a podcast, take this. If we ever get divorced, she gets half of everything I have. Because she's earned it. She's different. She's deserved it. And she's been my rock for the whole time.
No, I love that. It reminds me of an old proverb that says, a man never steps into the same river twice. The river changes and so does the man, right? And it's like the river's always changing, right? It raises, it lowers, rocks get moved around, sediments coming or going, like, depending on the amount of water, the speed of it, the height. So it's like, okay, if you're going to try and cross it yesterday, it's going to be different than if you're trying to cross it today or 6 months from now or whatever. But at the same time, like, you change as well. And so we're meant to change, right? Like, change is happening whether you want it to or not. It's just, are you being intentional about what that change looks like? And I think the most successful people, the most successful marriages and relationships are all being intentional about where they want to be. And I think having that vision of what you want your life to be, what you want your relationship to be like, and more closely you are aligned with your spouse and like, okay, this is where we want to go together. And then every decision that we make is going toward that, right? Like, it's not going to work if, hey, you're working and grinding and trying to cash flow and okay, hey, like, we're trying to barely get this business up the ground. And then your wife's saying, oh, cool, great, he got a paycheck, so I'm going to go spend it all, right? Like, we just got paid and okay, great, I'm going on a shopping spree, or we need to go on a vacation and, I want a new car or I want this or that. And it's like, you're never going to be able to get off the ground, right? It's like,
no, you have to be hyper aligned in your evolution together for sure. And just hyper communicative. And you're like, somebody said, it's a similar proverb. Somebody said, like, you marry 3 people throughout your lifetime and hopefully it's the same person, but you got to re-fall in love with the same person at 3 because we changed. It's so like, I'm not my 20-year-old self and I hope I'm not my 50-year-old self. We're going to be different and she's going to have to love me for my different version of myself, and she's going to change 3 times, and I'm going to have to love her throughout all of that change. And if you're hyper trusting of each other, hyper aligned in your evolution of what you're trying to become together, then that's where you'll succeed. Like, that's where you can have one marriage and fall in love multiple times throughout that marriage,
Love it. Let's talk a little bit about your philosophy when it comes to money and business, right? A lot of people have different views on this. Some people believe in bootstrapping businesses, taking on investors, taking on equity partners, or getting a loan to start, or whatever that looks like, right? That can take a lot of different forms. To the extent of detail that you want to go into, you're welcome to. But maybe share with us, how have you done things? What are the pros and cons you see of each one, or what would you recommend to other people that are trying to start a business or buying a business, of ways to structure things, and just kind of your overall view on capital and either using debt to help you grow or, cash flowing and bootstrapping things?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I'll tell you, part of my evolution right now is trying to figure out, like, should I be leveraging debt, right? I'm hyper conservative by nature. I'm like, bootstrap. If I can't pay for it, if I can't afford it, I don't pay for it. Like, I don't do things that I can't just pay cash for.
Dave Ramsey, right? It's like,
yeah,
that was reaching to my highest, right? It's like,
right.
yeah, if I can't pay for it in cash, we don't buy.
We don't buy.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think that's the smartest thing, by the way. Everything that I've learned, read, experienced tells me that, like, you should go leverage debt, right? I haven't, and this is part of my evolution, right? I have money, I have cash, and I'm choosing to leverage debt at some points now.
Yeah.
Right. A choice, because if the interest rate's really low, or like, it's easier to go use other people's money or debt money to go
can I go make this money that I already have go work for me better than the cost of going and buying money, right?
That's right.
Takes what you're doing.
Yeah. So I understand conceptually it's always been hard for me because, and now again, it's becoming less hard for me because as I'm learning and developing and going, but I've bootstrapped everything. The one piece of advice is that I would say is like, we had an investor, the first one that bailed out. We had another investor in my company a little bit later, and he's like, okay, we're going to go scale this thing, help scale this thing. What do you need to make is what he said to us, right? What do you, me and my business partner, what do you need to take home every month? Right. And I remember, I don't even remember what the number was, but like, let's say it was $6,000 a month or $8,000 a month is what I have to pay my bills. Right. This is what I had to have. And which felt like, oh, I'm like cutting myself. He's like, yeah, right. I'm like, oof. He's like, okay, we'll give you 4. And I'm like, well, I just said exactly like what I needed. He's like, good. So go make up the rest. And it was this idea that like, get uncomfortable, because uncomfortable is where you go achieve, and so if I'm giving advice to anybody, it's like, make sure that whatever you're doing is uncomfortable. A lot of entrepreneurs get stuck in this phase. I can't even tell you how many small businesses are owner operator, one man show. They go and they lay an epoxy floor, right? Just him, makes good money, might make 100, 150, 200 grand a year, whatever he's doing, maybe 300. Owner operator, maybe has one helper guy sometimes. That's where and by the way, they get comfortable there. Like that's a good, comfortable living.
Buy a new snowmobile every year, buy a new razor, dirt bike or something, go on vacation, have a company truck. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where they get stuck because they just got to a comfortable. And so then they're not driven to get past the uncomfortable, right? What I would say is like, keep yourself uncomfortable. Because you can force yourself into uncomfort. You just don't.
A full lion never hunts, right?
That's right. A full lion never hunts. So that would be my advice is like, even when you get to like, oh man, my company's making 300 grand a year, which means I could make 100 grand or whatever. Don't like, pay yourself 60, and force and put the rest into a bank account that you're not looking at, right? Go put it away. Get yourself forced to go get past that point of comfort. Hiring the first employee is scary for everybody. Like, I don't know why everybody stops there. I blew right past it, probably arrogance and delusion. I was like, oh, it's fine. I'll just go hire people.
Yeah.
But everyone's like, oh no, because then someone else's livelihood's on my first 2 employees.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. My first 2 employees in my Arizona company are still with me 10 years later.
Wow.
My first 2. My first ever hires as an entrepreneur are still there. And, I think I hired one from Kohl's at $12 an hour, and she's my director of claims and probably makes $190,000 a year. And she was working Kohl's 10 years ago when I found her.
Did you hire her out of Kohl's, or that just happened to be where she was working?
No, I hired her out of Kohl's.
Yeah. And it's like, and I've done that too. Like, I tell entrepreneurs all the time, like, go find people that are really good somewhere and just go hire them away.
Go hire them away.
I've had a waitress. Like,
you were special.
Hey, you're really good. Hey, like, do you want a job? Right? Like a mom at like a PTA meeting, like, wow, she's really impressive. Hey, do you want a job? Right? Like,
100%.
People at the grocery store. Like, I've literally offered box boys a job because like I see them just out there like hustling, grinding, throwing stuff on the shelves, like just like growing. It's like, hey, you want a job? Like,
yeah, you see like the people like at the retail stores that are moseying. This lady's like not a mosier. She was like doing her thing. She was like, oh yeah, can I help you? Oh yeah, let me go find it. I'll just go grab it. Like doing the extra stuff. And I remember being like, you do special things.
Yeah,
you're special. Let's go find the special people.
Well, just like going back to like your experience too, right? Where someone wanted to go into business with you because they watched you hustling and grinding. Same thing, right? It's like you and I do the exact same thing. You go see someone, like you go see some dad coaching soccer somewhere. It's like, okay, that dude is wired to win, right? Like this guy looks like a winner. He's like, okay, I'm going to go get that dude. Like
and they have like some trait that's special about them, whether they're hyper organized or hyper articulate or hyper hardworking or something. There's something special that sets them apart that you're like, yeah, I remember I was in and out and this lady was like, this girl, was like wiping tables. It was around Christmas time. She's like wiping. She's like, hey, can I take your stuff? Can I take your stuff? She was just like super hardworking, and like smile on your face, like super. And I'm like, I'm going to tip her, I gave her $100 tip, cause I'm like, man, she looks special.
Yeah.
I didn't need to hire anyone at the time. Otherwise, I probably would have offered her a job, you know? But go look for the special in people, because every once in a while you'll see it, and every one of us has experienced it, and you'll see and be like, that's either hyper this, hyper that. And that's what makes people successful in your business as an employee, is people who care, people who give a frick.
Yeah. No, I love it. Talk about the role that your network and that your friends and the people you surround yourself with has impacted you in your life. I look back and I think that your circle of friends is meant to change over time, right? Growing up, your friends are the people you go to school with, you play sports with, that you're around all the time. Maybe in high school, same thing, right? It's the kids you go to school with, you live in a geographic proximity to, you play on the same sports teams or have similar interests and alignment. But then as you start to grow up, right? Like if your high school friends are still your best friends, you either better have some really special high school friends or you need to go upgrade your circle. What role has your network and friends and people that are close to you influence you? How's that played a role in your success?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I hate the concept of upgrading your circle, because there's a bit of an arrogance that maybe people would
Associate with
that, right? Even though I think it's actually true, but it has a negative connotation, right? Because it's like you're leaving people behind, which I would never want to leave somebody behind that had the desire to come with me, right? Or come achieve with me, or come support me, and I'll support you.
A lot of times it just naturally happens.
It just naturally happens.
Their interests take them one direction. It's like, that's not really my interest. Yeah, I'm not in a position where I want to go on golf trips every weekend. Like,
yeah, that's right.
Cool, right? You're 22 and you want to go travel around and go golf different courses all the time. Like, it's not really an option for me, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep. Yeah, because you lose them along the way, right?
Yeah.
I still have my high school best friend. He's still my best friend. Like, he's a PA, a dermatologist. I think is part owner now in 3 clinics out in Nashville, area, because I think he saw the entrepreneurship that I was doing, and he's like, I'm not just going to be a derm anymore. Like, I'm going to go get equity in businesses, start and scale, and and I think I was influential in that.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I see what this guy's doing, and I want to go achieve more. And friends like that, man, ride with me forever.
Totally.
Right? Like, let's ride until the day we die together, because he's out in Tennessee now doing his thing. We're not obligating ourselves to each other. We go on one golf trip a year together to stay in touch, and otherwise we send each other funny memes or something on Instagram, and that's our relationship.
It's the best way to stay in touch, right? It's the only way to really know someone.
Outside of that, what's funny is this circle idea. I've lived here for almost 4 years now. I lived in a tract home I rented a tract home while we were building our house. And, cash flow wise, I was actually richer then.
It's funny how building a house has what we're doing that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And all of a sudden it's like, you build a house, and all of a sudden your network, again, people are like, oh, like, who's that?
Yeah.
Who's that guy? I was the guy next door that nobody had any idea that I was who I was, and that's the way I like it. Like, I want to be hyper approachable. I want people to be willing to come talk to me. I want people to know me for who I am and not what I have done, because I think that that's always been more important. But I'm sitting here at a podcast today because, like, I want to help other people. I want to grow my network. I want to get to know other people, find out where I can help them, and other opportunities will come along if people know who I am in the community. I have a really good network in Arizona because that's where I built everything.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And so here, I think that as I continue to just get my footing, it's really important to just get yourself out there and be available to people.
Yeah.
Be a phone call away.
And naturally people just start to connect, right? You start to attract people that have the same mindset, where it's like you and I got connected to become friends because someone that we both knew was like, Cam, do you know Jeremy? Like, you should know Jeremy. You guys,
he's a cool dude.
Right? Yeah.
He's a cool dude. You guys are both kind of cool dudes. Like, you guys should know each other, right? And that's how it works, know. And again, do the things when no one's looking. Be the guy when no one's looking, and all of a sudden, it just naturally, like, your circles change because you naturally, people like you, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, you guys should know each other because you guys are both kind of neat.
No, I love it. And I think it's like such an important thing that who you surround yourself with just impacts the way that you think, right? Like I want to be around people that elevate me. I want to be around people that push me. I want to be around people that's like, okay, what's this person doing? Like, how did they get to where they are? What makes them tick? What do they know that I don't know? Like I want to upgrade myself, right? There's so many things that I could learn from you. So many things I have learned from you. And hopefully it's the same way in return, right? Like I want to be around other people that I gain value from them and hopefully they gain value from me as well. And I want my kids, my family to be around people like that. Like I want my kids to look and see like, oh, hey, yeah, my dad was successful in these ways, but Jeremy was successful in these ways. And this person was successful in these ways,
Lots
right?
of
Like,
opportunities.
I want my kids to have the mindset and to see like, there's so many opportunities. There's so many different ways of doing things and to be around other, and I'm not talking financially successful, but people that I consider overall successful in their life, right? Like if you go make a bunch of money, but your life is a disaster, your family is a disaster, like that's not really success in my book. And so I want them to be around other people that's like, okay, this person has found great balance in their life where, yeah, like you can be rich in money, but you can also be rich in time.
Yep.
And you can be, poor in money, but you can also be poor in relationships. You can be poor in the opportunities that you have.
Yeah, I'll stop you right there because I do think it's an important differentiator. We use this term success, and I think most people think that means money.
Yeah.
That's actually not what I'm talking about. It's success in every avenue of your life. Like my biggest success is my kids, my family. Like that's actually where I'd say like I've done that right. I have a great family. I think my priorities are 100% right with what I'm doing, how I'm spending my time with them. The one thing I will say is like, as I've gotten older, I have just really low tolerance for chaos. Like things that don't bring value to my life, that are a distraction in my life. If you're asking like from my 20-year-old self till today, I would have had higher tolerance for like stuff that didn't matter.
Yeah.
I would have been like, oh, it's okay. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he is that way sometimes, but like he's mostly fine. At this point, I'm like, no, he's kind of that way. So like, probably don't need that in my circle because like I just don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I don't want that to occupy brain space. I don't want it to occupy my family. I don't want the negativity to like be
the energy on me.
I don't want the energy.
Yeah.
So like I just have like as I've grown, I've just had really lower tolerance for that, right? And so if people, have that, I just like mostly just I'm like, we don't really need to be associated like that, because it's just more negativity. I call it chaos. Like, things that just don't bring value.
Yeah. No, love it. If you had to name a book or books or something that you've read or listened to or that's had a big impact on your life that way that you would recommend to other people, was there anything that kind of changed the trajectory of your life?
Yeah, and I said Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, I think has 13 books. Most of them are really good. Most are worth a read. That one was the most influential book. It was my first real I think, entrepreneur book, or I don't even know what they would be called. They're like
self-help or whatever.
Books. Yeah, like it was my first book that was like, oh, I didn't even know this genre.
And I'm reading this not because I'm assigned to by someone at school, but like
because I wanted to and I wanted to learn, and it was my admission president who gave it to me, right? And so I would say that book was probably the number one. If I was to name a podcast, Alex Hormozi's podcast is by far, to me, resonates with me the most. Like there are great pieces of other podcasts and other books that I've read that I'm like, oh, that he nailed that piece, right? Like but then he'll go and he'll say something else and I'm like, I don't know if I believe in that.
Yeah.
Alex Hormozi's like 95%, like 100%, like
hyper intelligent, hyper articulate, right? Like very experienced. Yeah.
And his experiences like resonate with me. He's like, oh yeah, I experienced this. And I'm like, I experienced that, And so I would say if I'm pointing anyone to a podcast, it's Alex Hormozi's podcast. And then a book. If you're starting and you're like, do I really want to be an entrepreneur? It's Rich Dad Poor Dad by
Love it.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Do you have a favorite quote or piece of advice that someone's given to you along the way that you feel like has made a big impact on your life or that you would give to someone else?
Yeah, and it's probably one that's been used 1,000 times, but it's nobody cares. Work harder. I think that's what I preach to my kids. That's what I think actually this idea of feel good excuses, excuses that make you feel better. I'm not successful because I didn't have a dad who gave me money. I am not successful because I didn't have the education. I am not successful because somebody did. I got a 7.5 on a beam routine because the judges were grumpy. No, like You got a 7.5 because did you do 100% perfect? No. Hyper accountability. Nobody cares about your feel good excuse. Outwork it, work harder. Nobody cares. Don't give it to yourself because all it does is make you feel better. It has no value. It makes you feel better. And you don't want to feel better in failure. You want to feel like a failure in failure. Nobody cares. Work harder.
Love it. Great advice. Jeremy, this has been awesome. Thanks for coming on the podcast today. Love it. Like, all your advice has been amazing, spot on. If someone wants to get in touch with you, learn more about you, connect with you, what's the best way for them to do it?
Yeah, I mean, probably my phone. I'm not super, I have a social media. I have an Instagram. You guys are welcome to DM me on that.
We'll tag you in the podcast so people want to get in touch with you. They can do it that way.
Otherwise, people who know me, like, they feel free to give my number out. Like, they know that about me. If people contact you, feel free to give my number out. I'm happy to talk to anyone.
Love it. Appreciate being here.
Appreciate it, Cam. Thanks.